وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminded all human beings, I have created jinn and mankind for no other reason except that they should worship Him willingly. فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. So flee, run to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remind humans to proclaim the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guiding us to Islam, the only true way of life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remind humanity in the first verse of Surah Hajj. Ya ayyuhan nas, Ya ayyuhan nas, ittaqu rabbakum, inna zalzalati sa'a shay'un azim. O humanity, fear your Lord, for the violent shaking and quaking of the hour is surely a horrible thing. Ibrahim alayhi salam lived a life of sacrifices. He strived and he struggled, willing to give his life for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He lived a life of total submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Waskur fil kitab Ibrahim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Innahu kana sadiqan nabiyan. For sure, without doubt, Ibrahim alayhi salam was a man of truth, a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibrahim alayhi salam, as a young man, young people, listen up. Ibrahim alayhi salam, as a young man, was able to see through the falsehood of the society. Ibrahim alayhi salam was able to see through the illusion of the community. He asked his father and his people, Mada ta'budun? What is that you worship? Is it fake ideology other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You people are following your egos and your desires. You people are bowing to human gods. Ya abati, la ta'budi shaitan. Inna shaitana kana lirahmani asiba. Oh my dear father, do not worship shaitan. Do not worship shaitan. Surely shaitan is ever rebellious against the most compassionate, Ar-Rahman. Just for speaking the truth, Ibrahim alayhi salam became enemy number one. Father told Ibrahim alayhi salam to get lost. Shut your mouth, I will stone you. La illam tantahi la arjumannaka. The people responded to Ibrahim alayhi salam. Qalu, they said, harrikuhu, burn him. The people made the great fire and they threw Ibrahim alayhi salam into that great fire. No one to support him, no one to help him, neglected by his community, neglected by his friends, neglected by his own father. When he looked around, all he could hear is jeering, laughing, clapping. Throw, throw, throw. Born, born, born. Not one supporter, everyone yelling. All Ibrahim alayhi salam was saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sufficient for me. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the fire, Kulna ya naru kuni bardan. Be cool to Ibrahim alayhi salam. Peace on Ibrahim alayhi salam. Wa salaman ala Ibrahim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed the world his power and his capability by saving Ibrahim alayhi salam from the burning fire. Ibrahim alayhi salam message to his own people, including his father, was rejected, but he never gave up. He never compromised. He stood his ground. This was a community full of immorality and corruption. Ibrahim alayhi salam was disgusted with them as he separated himself. And he said, وَقَالَ إِنِّي ذَاهِبٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّي سَيَهْدِينِ. I am going to my Lord who will guide me. In the world today, Ibrahim alayhi salam is showing us that the first thing we should think about is the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibrahim alayhi salam put a value on his life. Kul inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen. Say my prayers, my sacrifice, my life and my death are all for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Lord of all the worlds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Qala inni ja'iluka linnasi imama. Verily I am going to make you, Ibrahim alayhi salam, an imam, a leader for mankind to follow you. Question for all of us. Ibrahim alayhi salam was willing to give his life by burning in the fire for this deen. Hell did not bar the door. He stood up against the fire of the shayateens. Are we willing to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the power to change any situation from negative to positive. لا تدري لعل الله يحدث بعد ذلك أمرا. Ibrahim alayhi salam got the greatest gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took Ibrahim alayhi salam as an intimate friend. وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيلًا. Our greatest gift is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided us to be Muslims.